Shalom, brother and sister truth seekers. It has been a full day of sundial data being collected around the world, and just the quick summary of what I think I'm seeing. The consensus appears to be that on the 19th, it does not seem the majority of witnesses seem to be pointing towards the straight line not having happened yet. There were some people seeing straight lines, but we'll talk about that on a case by case basis. Mainly, I think it was due to not having enough data, primarily, like 8 hours or less. You can typically, you can see a straight line on days bookending an equinox event. Multiple days. So really, it's 9 to 10 hours of data that we need to be shooting for at a minimum to really get those early morning and late evening points that start to hook and curve the most. But that, yeah, there were definitely some very close calls in here, and if anyone did have a close call, I recommend please collect data again tomorrow, because you might just be surprised to discover if you thought you saw the straight line on the 19th, you might be seeing it again on the 20th. Or you could prove everybody wrong and see the flipped curve on the 20th. But now I'm just going to run through these really quickly. It's late here in West Virginia. I've talked with most of these individuals already, so I'm just going to kind of fly through the data very quickly. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to leave comments or send me an email at avoiceoftruthandlove@gmail.com. All this data is available if you check the link in the description below this video. All this data is available on a shared Dropbox folder. So if you have any questions about any of this data, you can find it in that folder, or just let me know if you'd like to contact someone who provided the data, and we'll see what we can do to get you in touch with that person. So without further ado, I'm just going to fly through this and give you the high-level summary of what I think I'm seeing. And please, like I said, feel free to let me know if you have any questions. So starting in New Zealand, let's see, 8 hours of data. So that wasn't the biggest data spread, but I think that's all they can get. And I think, tough call, still slight pre-equinox curve. That was their opinion of their own data. So things were jumping around a little bit, but you can see some of these are off the line. So Asher is in a very important location in New Zealand. I believe he may be seeing the straight line first on the 20th. Actually, I've already heard from Alan. I think I'm going over his data next. Yeah, Alan. He's actually already submitted half a day of data for the 20th at the moment I'm recording this, and he was seeing a straight line so far. So, but let's see. On the 19th, he thought he was seeing the pre-equinox curve. This is Eastern Australia. So if we zoom in on his data set, I remember this one now. So he dropped his line, and you can see there's still a gap in between his midday marks in the string. Philippines. I heard from somebody on the Covenant Calendar Facebook group called Follow Yahweh, and they said they thought they were seeing the straight line, but I never saw a photo to substantiate it. And what they say, from 8 to 4 p.m. So that's like 8 hours of data. Again, as you're going to see as we go through some of these, when you only have 8 hours of data, it's definitely possible to see the straight line when others around you who are taking more data are seeing a curved line. So Uganda, let's take a quick look. Slight pre-equinox curve. Okay. So yeah, there you go. Points coming off the line. That's a pretty good spread of data, I think, from 9 to 5 p.m. Okay, that was 8 hours too. So, yeah, I guess, is that what that is? 8 hours? 3 hours? Yeah, interesting. Okay, so there's a good example of it. Okay, I used to tell people go for 8 hours of data. That's what I used to tell people years ago, but as more and more people started to collect sundial data, there are other little, like, there it's not complicated stuff, but there are little things to learn and little mistakes to be made. Like, you could be have a shaky hand, or you could be wrapping your string or putting your point in slightly, doing different things. And so, I mean, to offset the potential for some of these other little errors to mess things up, the recommendation is to go for 9 to 10 hours of data, because it really helps things to pop. And if you do have any of those little mistakes, like, you're going to still be able to see that curve regardless of those mistakes. But yeah, I mean, this is proof here that it is possible to see the curve even with 8 hours of data. If you're if you're doing everything right and not making any of those other little mistakes. So, but yeah, that's what we're recommending. Um, 9 to 10 hours, but yeah, this is showing it looks like 8 hours can possibly get you there too if you get everything right. Uh, okay, this. Oh yeah, I just heard from this person, but no photo to confirm. They believe they were seeing the pre-equinox curve. Croatia, they believed they were seeing a pre-equinox curve, just slightly, um, just slightly coming off the line. So you can see some of their points are kind of covered by the straight edge, and then some of them are already popping out. So Wales, unfortunately, I don't think they were able to get much data. So 6 hours of data, and with 6 hours of data, it's definitely going to look straight. It's unfortunately it's those early morning and late evening points that are gonna make the pattern curve. But good effort. Hopefully you're able to try again tomorrow. And if there was bad weather, I pray that you let's all pray for each other that we have good weather. This was an honorable mention. This was pretty cool. So this was Dell Young on Facebook was tracking this one, and I've always wanted to try and utilize the Washington Monument. I mean, in theory, the taller sundial that you're able to use, the more exaggerated your results are going to be. So instead of splitting hairs on a tiny sundial table, like, you're literally watching the shadow pattern jump like 15 to 20 feet each day, kind of thing. So this brother, I just want to mention this one because I'll be keeping an eye on it, maybe even see what he comes up with tomorrow. But he discovered there is an Earth camera, is what it's called, but a live feed from the top of the monument, taking a picture of the shadow, and you can he's projecting. You can see the line that the shadow will follow, and this plaza, or whatever it is, Washington Plaza, I'm pretty sure it was designed to be perfectly east and west. So it's it's another metric to potentially compare to when you're watching the pattern that the tip of this thing's gonna cut. So he's yeah, this just shows it in a different location, different time of year, I guess. But that's what it's called. If anyone want to look into it, it's might be pretty cool. Um, okay, Georgia in the USA. Oh, I don't know what to say about this. They thought they were, I believe they thought they were seeing the straight line today. Or not straight line. They thought they were seeing the sign on the armillary, like, perfect location. I don't use these much because I just see there's potential for human error. I've just seen it a lot over the years, but I mean, maybe everything went okay on this. If you want to reach out to this truth seeker, we can any questions you have. All I can say is I know Remnant of Light also uses the armillary, and their armillary was pointing towards the equinox, or the straight line occurring on the 20th. So uh, I can't say much about this device. But those are a couple. You could talk to Remnant of Light. They're very knowledgeable about it. So here's Jess in New York, and I believe she had 9 hours of data. Very good effort that she made, and it looked fairly straight, except you see, oh, I can't zoom in. You can see some of these points coming off the line here. Could have been just a handshaking, but that one's off, and well, that one's off too. So, on the day of the equinox, it might be hard to believe that things could be that close, but you're really going to actually see the straight line. If you've got a fat dot like that, the straight line should run right through it, like it'll cut it exactly in half. Um, so it's some of these, like I said, they're a tough call, and by all means, reach out, comment, discuss. But again, just the consensus of some of these other results that we're going to be getting into in the Western United States seem to be showing that the pre-equinox curve was still being seen pretty clearly. So I think she'll be collecting again tomorrow. So it'll just be interesting to see, does she get a flipped curve tomorrow, or does it look straight again? Um, so let's go on to Mississippi. Am I getting that right? Brad in Mississippi. Okay, yeah, he had a nice one. So this one, I don't know if I got how many hours of data he collected, but if you zoom in, you can see his midday point right there is not on the line yet. Not on the line yet. And this is with a 7-inch tall gnomon. And what we're looking at here, and the pattern you're going to start to see if you haven't noticed it already, is if you're standing with your back against this gnomon looking up at north, the curve that we're seeing is a smiley face. It's dipping below the straight line. So N would be the nose of the face you were looking at, and the smiley face is below the line. So that's the pattern we're going to start seeing a lot of. Is the data has a slight curve that is dipping below, I guess, on the south side of the line. So if you're looking north, it'll look like a smiley face. But yeah, this is Mississippi. Still showing pre-equinox curve. So this is another group, Manna from Heaven. They have two different groups. This one's in Mississippi, and I believe they thought they were seeing the straight line. I'm not sure what they were doing with their string, but I did actually drop a straight line from the first point of the day to the last point of the day, and it looks like some of their points are definitely still off of the line. So the moving on to Louisiana, and this was 8 hours of data. This was well, like I look at this data set, and this is a really good data set. Like she's got a nice screw, a nice sharp tip, looks like, and a nice spread of data. And as I look at this is very, very close. Which way is north? North is up there. So I mean, this truly looks straight, and like some of the other data sets that we've seen and will see, I mean, that are 8 hours and less, like they can look very straight like this, and it's just all I can say is I'm like, people around. We're gonna see. We've seen a few of them, and we'll see more of them. But they're with the longer data spread, they're seeing that curve, and I don't know. Like this, maybe. I mean, this was a pretty early morning point. Uh, it's just this was probably one of the closest ones. Well, I guess there's one other close one that is just too close to call. But she's going to be collecting again tomorrow, so we'll be watching to see if she gets a straight line or if she gets a flipped curve. And that's if in theory this was a straight line today, then she should be seeing the flipped curve tomorrow. We know that much. Like when we see these three patterns, it's a curve one day, and then it's straight, and then it's a flipped curve the other day. So I won't say too much more about this. This was an excellent effort. Just unfortunately, sometimes, like I said, if there's maybe a small amount of human error combined with a shorter spread of data like that, sometimes it can definitely look straight multiple days around an equinox event. Tennessee, I think, was still seeing the pre-equinox curve. Oh, I love this. He was using a taller gnomon, and I think it was like 59 inches tall or something. But this stick here, and he's just looking at these exaggerated shadows with the taller sundial. And this was his midday mark, quite substantially off the line here. So Swan, oh Texas, okay. 10 hours of data, so this was a good spread of data. And as we look at it, you can see the midday points are off the line still. So if I could have like one important takeaway point from all of this as you're getting ready to collect tomorrow or today on the 20th and the 21st, the biggest thing is, if at all possible, try and get those early morning and late evening points. It will help everybody, yourself included, to understand what's going on with the data. So this few people were reporting here, so we'll just take a top down. This was probably one of the other closest ones that I don't know what to make of. He did have 10 hours of data, 10 and a half hours of data, actually, I think. And he did believe he was seeing a straight line. And as I look at this, I can't look too closely at it to say for sure. I mean, it definitely looks straight to me. It's just the reason I question it is only because there was someone else also in Montana we're going to look at here who also collected 10 and a half hours of data, and there, as you can see, a curve along with like all these other ones that are still seeing curves. So I'm not sure what's going on with this data set. This is kind of an outlier, that probably the best outlier, that I don't know how it's possible. Uh, he's seeing it straight and so many others are not. But he'll be collecting again tomorrow, so we'll just have to wait and see what he comes up with. So this was just also in Montana, a short spread, but they thought they were seeing a pre-equinox curve. Again, north is up here, so we expect the smiley face to dip below the line, and you see there is a point below the line. That point's below the line. Oh, that point's above the line. So, yeah, and that one looks above the line too. Interesting. Okay, well, yeah, so that wasn't a very big spread of data. This is the other gentleman who had 10 and a half-ish hours of data, and he just did a phenomenal job putting his data together so we can really look at it. He's got all his times mapped out here, and so you can see it was about 10 hours, a little more than 10 hours. And then he zooms in on these 3 points at midday, and you can see. Let me see if I can zoom in. You can see they're off the line there. So it's it's definitely a close call for some of these, and we just need to, I'd say, wait till tomorrow to see for sure. People who thought they were seeing the straight line today, if they see a flipped curve tomorrow, they'll know they're golden. And if they see another straight line tomorrow, that'll just confirm what we've been saying about these multiple days close to an equinox event being able to see a straight line. So this is Remnant of Light. They're the ones that do the armillary, and they also do the straight line test. And I wanted to try and show a video of what they came up with, because again, it's important. They've been doing this for a number of years, so they're very experienced, and they were seeing the curve on the 19th. So let's see if this works.
And so today we are purplish pink. And let's see. We were green yesterday, and now we're pink today. So we can see it dropped quite a bit in the morning, but let's see if we have an angle. All right, so go ahead and reset it. So here we see the pink, and now we see it bowing down with the green. See, we don't see any green right here. No green here. But now we start seeing green coming out with the pink. Green and pink. And you want to pull it off, you can see how far the green actually went. See how far the green goes? It's still curving towards the north. And put your line back on.
So you can watch the rest of that video if you want to see more. But yeah, I think that was a pretty solid witness that they're seeing the pre-equinox curve, and it's significant because they're this other manna from heaven as well. We'll look at them, but they're like they're the westmost location. So if they are not seeing the straight line yet, then it's not really possible that anyone to the east of them saw the straight line yet. So just another food for thought there. There's one from the Tri-Cities in Washington. Oh, 7 hours of data. So unfortunately, that's just not it may appear straight, but that's what happens during an equinox, close to an equinox event. Unfortunately, it will look straight for shorter spreads of data. It's really those longer spreads of data that give us the hook. So and here, yeah, let's see if I can find which photo. So this is out in Oregon, USA, pretty much one of the westernmost locations I heard from for the 19th. And they just had a really nice setup. And I think the best picture, probably, I can't remember if it's this one. You can kind of see, I don't know which way is north in this, I guess north would be up this way, so you would expect to see the point a little bit below the line, and you can see it's a little bit below the line there, but they did use 2 sundials, and this shorter one, it's really clear. This is kind of flipped upside down. North is actually down here, so the smiley face actually looks like a rainbow, but you can see that curve for sure. So that, and again, they're pretty much in the westernmost location. So if they haven't seen the straight line yet, then it doesn't make sense that anyone before them saw it yet. And so that's what the majority of witnesses seem to be indicating. Yeah, just we'll see what happens tomorrow. It'll probably be another full day of data collection tomorrow, but I encourage you to check out this Facebook group because we're throwing live feeds to this group. Like, as anything happens, people are uploading it to this group. Any ideas that they have, thoughts about sundials, results about sundials, just feel free to upload it here, and I gather it all and pull it down to the Dropbox folder. Definitely feel free to check this out too. It's it has everything organized. See, on the Facebook group, it just happens live and it's a little disorganized. It's just as it comes in, people are giving reports like, oh, not seeing the curve in Africa yet, not seeing it in Australia yet, but everything kind of gets mixed up and stuff. So the Dropbox folder is nice because it keeps everything organized by date. So these folders are, this is the third month for March, and then you got all these dates so you can drill right in to see, and then by location here. And I just tried to put numbers on these just to help me not lose track as I went through presenting. These generally follow like the time zones progression. Yeah, but feel free to upload your stuff to this Facebook group, or send any of your data to avoiceoftruthandlove@gmail.com. And yeah, any questions, send them there as well, or leave a comment below the video. Join the effort if you can, and stay tuned. We'll definitely be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. So shalom, and may Allah bless you as you continually seek out His truth in love with a pure heart.